shock. That's my fam, I'll hold them down forever.
So happy to have you with us for this abbreviated segment of Shamrock Sports here on the second floor of the Duncan Student Center. Jacob Heinrich, John Bailey here with you, breaking down Notre Dame's big win over North Carolina, 45-32. They get it done. And John, you said it right there. It's a big win for them.
And this is my party outfit right now.
Party
We got
outfit?
some
What-
shorts on, my little Notre Dame jacket, the hat, full school spirit right now because I am actually quite happy with the results. I am pleased. This was by far the best game of the year.
Oh,
I'm very
100%.
happy with the results. However, we can't be content just yet. Our offense played well against a bad defense. You know, they did exactly what you expected them to do, but I'm not buying in just yet. You know,
You're not punching a ticket yet?
No, I'm not saying we're that number 5 team we started off at this year, but I think we could get there. And I think it all starts with the offensive line, which finally started producing this week. Coming into the season, that front 5 was supposed to be one of the strongest units of the country and probably Notre Dame's strongest position groups. They've struggled mightily through the first 3 games, but really came up big this game. Some solid pass protection. Only 1 sack of Drew PYNE, but talk about some big runs this time. And a lot of that comes from their ability to get to the second level. I want to single out Joe Alt and Jared Patterson in particular on the left side. They're able to kind of push back their guy on the line of scrimmage and get second level to those linebackers that allow a big hole for Estime, or even we saw a big run from Chris Tyree today as well. He was able to, you know, get these big chunk yardage that are so critical to moving the ball down the field effectively, especially when you have a game manager at quarterback, somebody who can't readily throw the ball 20 yards down the field every single time.
However, he can. We do have the ability. He does.
He can.
However, right now, you're looking at a guy that understands that he needs to come into that role a little bit more as of right now. However, when you have the run game and it's working as well as it is, and you're seeing it, you're seeing Blake Fisher as well on that right side. Also, you can't,
big fish,
dude. You can't just favor a left side because you got to be equally able to run each side of the ball. And I think Fisher's holding it down on the right side for the most part. However, both teams are doing a great job. Both sides of the ball are doing a great job of propelling themselves forward. However, once again, we knew offense was going to be huge in this game. Defense came up big, though, in some times.
Yeah. I would say the defense played good, not great, against a good but not great offense. North Carolina's put up a lot of points this year, but it's because they've had so many opportunities to do so. Their defense is, you know, about as strong as a wet blanket. With you let Appalachian State put up 61 against you. Granted, took down A&M, but they didn't put up 60 against A&M.
Yeah, no.
So I think it just speaks to how bad their defense is to allow their offense so many opportunities to score. And I'll start with a positive. Despite being a Detroit Lions fan, I'm not a pessimist. I try to remain optimistic a lot of times when our teams are a little questionable with the product on the field. I'll start with Riley Mills. He was this year's big breakout candidate, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's Mills season. You know, fire up the sawmill because he's bound to cut into some offensive line, right? He finally broke through, got some good pressure, swallowing up Drake May right here. He got 2 sacks on the day that came at some really big junctures in the game. He got that push that we finally wanted to see from that front 7, and it really impressed me to see him do so. The secondary, a bit more of a mixed bag. Cam Hart and Xavier Watts, I thought, played pretty well by and large. They had some good pass breakups, but at the same time, they led up 64 and 80-yard touchdowns. I think the propensity to give up the big plays on this defense is still way too high. And when you see against teams who can readily move the ball down the field, I'm a little worried about USC right now. To see what Caleb Williams can do with that arm talent.
That's a little bit. That's when that's on the West Coast.
They can improve, right? I would hope to see.
And that's what we saw here in this game, and I think that's why
steady growth.
Exactly. I think that's why everyone focuses on this game so much, is due to the fact that you have a game that was able to show improvement, show a team that continuously showed up and showed out.
Yeah. I will say on that, though, I'm still a little disappointed. I think we had a very slow start to the game, much like we did against Cal. First 2 possessions were only 10 plays for 23 yards, culminated in a punt and a missed field goal. You know, North Carolina, our defense was able to stop the Tar Heels and contain them well enough to allow the offense to get on track. Not going to be able to do that against some of the better teams. Against the Clemsons, even though their offense is questionable, I still think they could put up points in a hurry if Galilei has a good game. And we talked about USC and BYU next week, too. I don't know if I trust this defense to hold up if the offense puts up donuts time and time again in the first quarter.
Yeah, and also you got to look at Tommy Rees here. Tommy Rees was able to elevate as a play caller in this one. You saw him. You had those first couple games work out a little things, and then you see right here the play action and the RPOs are what's going to survive because if we can establish the run game here, John, I think this is what's going to be able to work so well for this team is when you can run it well, then that opens up that play action or an RPO offense that I think Drew PYNE will succeed in.
Oh, I completely agree with that. And I loved getting both Logan Diggs and Chris Tyree involved in the pass game because we're a bit limited in the wide receiver room right now in terms of playmakers.
Just
a little bit. So when you see, you can get the ball in your playmakers like Logan Diggs, who has that speed, who has nice hands, and same with Chris Tyree. They call him the Jet for a reason. He's a burner. So if you're able to get him the ball in open space, if it start just hand it off to him too much, it becomes predictable. Send the guy in motion. Are you going to do a little sweep? Are you going to sit him on a wheel route and let him take off the passing play? That's what I really like, is stunting behind the line of scrimmage, particularly on the left side, because like I said, I'm a little biased, but I think that's the stronger side of the line as of right now, to just put guys in motion and keep the defense on their heels, keep them guessing, and just let guys like Diggs and Chris Tyree, just let them cook.
Just let them cook.
Right?
And however, this is a big statement win, and Marcus Freeman had a lot to say in that post-game conversation. So let's listen in right here.
The best thing about this, man, remember, it's not the outcome, man. Continue to focus on the things that determine the outcome. That's what I'm most proud of this group. The way you come every single day and prepare. That's why we have a chance to have success. Because you bring your butts to work every day. Every day you go and you prepare. And that's got to be our key. We just got to continue to get better. Right? We don't worry about the show. We got to win. We got to do this. No. We just got to continue to get better.
And Marcus Freeman is just finding a way to get his guys day in and day out, and you see it and hear it. The amount of passion he has for this program and understanding it didn't go the way you wanted. You were not in the greatest of shape when you started. You lose to Oklahoma State in the bowl game, then you lose to Ohio State, a team that you grew up, was a GA for, played for, and then lost to Marshall in maybe one of the worst games Notre Dame's played in recent memory at Notre Dame Stadium. But then we were able to come back and get Cal, and then to add on another win, that's huge. But however, just getting better day in and day out, I think that's what we talked about already so far, John, is just improving.
Definitely a bit of a shaky start, right? 0-3. I can't say that's how everybody expected the Marcus Freeman era to begin. Oklahoma State has a bad loss. We can talk about some of the play calling errors, but that's been talked about time and time again. Ohio State, I couldn't have expected much better, frankly. Marshall, that's a different story, but I've liked what I've seen since. And what I like about Marcus Freeman, I might got a little too much NFL on the brain right now, but he reminds me in a way of Dan Campbell, the new Lions head coach, if you guys have seen Hard Knocks. The fact that he's just like such a great leader, that his players are just rallying around him at all times and respect him, that he can get the best out of these guys. And despite an 0-2 start against Ohio State and Marshall, these guys didn't quit. We saw Jarrett Patterson, when they lost to Marshall, a little visibly frustrated on the sideline, kind of angry. And I was questioning at the time, when we saw that, is that going to be the spark of a turnaround? Is he going to use that as motivation? Or are they going to start to kind of give up on the season, like, wow, we're out of the playoff, we're not as good as we thought we were, why give it our all every week? It's our last season, let's just try to get our NFL profile up and give up on the team. That's not been the case at all. I think a lot of that goes with the leadership, that when, times get tough, Marcus Freeman is that tough guy you want to lead the room. And I have every belief that he will be able to maintain the strong locker room presence, use it for recruiting, and once he gets his guys, say 2 more years down the line, when he has his player pool and not the remnants of the Brian Kelly era, I know they're going to ball out because he has an eye for talent, and they're going to run through a brick wall for him.
Yeah, and really, it shows day in and day out that he is going to be that leader of the future. However, it's bye week here, so Shamrock Sports is also on a bye. We'll do this pretty abbreviated version, recapping that last game. However, it's Viva Las Vegas when we return next week for a big game. It's that 10-7. Mark your calendars here on the second floor of the Duncan Student Center. Shamrock Sports will be providing one of the greatest shows I think we can produce in a very long time, because we understand the importance and the significance. If this turning point still and we're still taking that corner, or are we starting to straighten out here about under the Marcus Freeman era? So hopefully you tune in next week for Viva Las Vegas. I think I just coined that, so we're going to maybe have to go with it. So Viva Las Vegas, but thank you guys so much for watching. For everybody from behind the scenes, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you on Viva Las Vegas weekend.
Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.